So do you have a puppy that's peeing and pooping everywhere around the house? You might have tried potty training sprays, setting up pee pads, and you might have even punished the puppy every time he made a mistake. Pero hindi pa rin natututo yung puppy and the problem persists, and the worst part of it is that you have to clean up the mess every time. So if that describes you and your puppy, keep watching because today we'll talk about puppy potty training. Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Doc Marose. I'm a veterinarian and dog behavior consultant. So, paano maturuan, umihi, or dumumi ang puppy sa tamang lugar? If you frequently allow your puppy to be alone or unsupervised in the home for long periods of time, and if you allow your untrained puppy who doesn't have bladder and bowel control yet to run around the house wherever he pleases, you're very likely to allow the puppy to develop a house soiling habit. With some puppies, even without any proactive plan, pwede pa rin silang matuto magwiwi at pupo sa tamang lugar. Why or how? Because puppies naturally have an instinct not to pee and poop where they eat and sleep, or in what they identify as their living spaces. And if circumstances in your home somehow favor that this behavior is encouraged, then as your puppy grows up, that natural instinct can develop into a good habit. And then you have a adult dog who is house trained, even with minimal or even with zero active supervision. And of course, it helps if your puppy was acquired from someone, a good breeder, who already started potty training early before even you got the puppy. But if you're here watching this video looking for a solution to house soiling, then that's probably not how it turned out for you. But to solve the problem, you actually only have to do three things. First, you have to prevent and manage the house soiling. Secondly, you have to supervise and create a routine for the puppy. And third, teach the puppy where to pee and poop and reward this correct behavior. So it sounds simple enough, and yet a lot of puppy owners still struggle with potty training. If you're one such struggling puppy owner, let's make sure you're able to check off all of these three boxes or three parts of the solution and solve your house soiling problem. So before we get into the actual solving of the problem, una sa lahat, pag-isipan muna natin saan ba dapat magwiwi or pupo ang puppy natin sa bahay natin. Make sure that the potty area that you decide on is convenient and easy to access, and that it contains, of course, the substrate or the potty surface that you prefer for your puppy. And of course, make sure that it is easy to clean. All right, so now we've decided on the potty area. So the first part of the solution, how can we prevent our puppy from house soiling? So the key word here is to prevent. You have to really prevent your puppy from practicing the undesirable behavior, which in this case is the house soiling or peeing and pooping in the wrong place. So if your puppy is currently house soiling in various parts of the house, it's likely you don't have a plan for limiting your puppy's movements, especially when he's not supervised. So you have to ask yourself, where will my puppy be kept safe, secure, and comfortable when no one's around to watch him? So for options, you could consider a crate or a small cage, which are best for short-term confinement only and used mostly when you're around and when you can periodically let your puppy outside. And it's mostly just for where the puppy should sleep. For longer confinement periods, like when the puppy is left unsupervised for more than 3 to 4 hours, especially if you have to go to work or if you have to go to school, or even if you are at home and you're busy with a lot of different tasks and can't give attention to the puppy, then a larger pen or a puppy-proofed room would be best. And that space would contain a place where the puppy can sleep and also where the puppy can go to potty. So it does contain a potty substrate, a potty surface for the puppy to go pee and poop. Either way, for both short and long-term confinement, you want to make sure you fulfill these two requirements. So the first requirement is that your puppy has to be conditioned for confinement, which means he should be used to being alone and by himself in a confined space. So dapat sanay siyang nakukulong. So you don't want your puppy feeling anxious and wanting to escape out of that space, and you want him to be able to just settle and rest And then the second condition is that the confinement space has to be secure, safe, and comfortable. We won't go into the details of confinement training or confinement conditioning in this video, but if you have a puppy or dog that's anxious about being confined, and if you want guidance on how to get your puppy to be used to confinement, or if you need help with other naughty puppy behaviors, I invite you to schedule an appointment with me. The link is in the video description. There are online and on-site options available for appointments. So now you have your puppy contained when unsupervised, but don't get stuck with just managing the puppy. So wag naman natin iiwan na lang na nakakulong palagi yung puppy. Dapat palalabasin din. So we move on to the next step. And we think about, secondly, how can we supervise the puppy outside of confinement? Active supervision is really the key. So at scheduled times, depending on the potty habits that you have observed in your puppy, you'll guide your puppy from confinement to a potty area. And also, on the schedule, there should be supervised play, training, and socialization for your puppy. And whenever you guide your puppy from the confinement area to his potty area, you want to use a leash or you carry your puppy there. I wouldn't let your puppy just walk to the potty area unguided, because that increases the likelihood of the puppy having an accident along the way. So what I want to emphasize here is that at any time that your puppy is moving about outside of confinement, you have to really watch him or her. And like I said, an indoor leash or barriers or baby gates will help restrict your puppy's movements. But even with these tools to help you, you want to make sure you're actively supervising. You're there, you're present, your full attention should be on your puppy while he's outside of confinement, so that when you see the signs of him needing to pee or poop, you can immediately guide your puppy to the potty area. Which leads into the third part of the house training plan, where we teach and reward the good behavior. So once you've guided your puppy to the correct place to pee or poop, be prepared to reward him when he does go. So gentle praise and a treat would be good, but even just the relief of doing his business will be part of the reward. So you can follow up the praise and the treat with some supervised free time and playtime. And once the puppy has had enough activity and is ready to rest, you can guide him back to confinement until his next scheduled potty time or potty break and supervised free time. So if you stick consistently to this routine, you're allowing a few things to happen. First of all, you're preventing the practice of the undesirable behavior, which should eventually fade, especially if at the same time number two, you allow the desirable behavior to be practiced and rewarded. And then third, with time, the puppy develops bladder and bowel control. Natututo na siyang magpigil ng kanyang wee-wee and poo-poo. And this develops into a good habit where you don't have to manage and supervise the dog anymore. So even if you follow this routine, it's still possible that accidents will happen. In case of potty accidents, don't give up after a mistake or two. Mistakes will definitely happen. And, life happens. Sometimes we mess up with our supervision and we mess up with our routine because other things take priority. Don't worry about it too much. If your puppy is outside the potty area and you see him just about to do it, you can try to gently interrupt the puppy and see if you can still guide him to the potty area. But if he's already like midstream or mid-poop, wag mo nang interrupt. Hayaan mo na siyang matapos. Kasi pag hinatak mo pa siya or binuhat mo pa siya in an attempt to take him to the potty area, you might end up with a bigger mess than if you had just left the puppy alone to finish his business. If, on the other hand, you discover a puddle of pee or a pile of poop somewhere, then just clean up the mess. Try to really understand how the accident happened. Why did your puppy soil in the crate or in his cage or in his pen? Or how did the puppy get away from under your supervision? So you have to ask these questions so that you can do better next time and maybe allow the puppy more opportunities to go pee and poop in the correct place. And there's really no need to punish the puppy because punishment is very unlikely to teach the puppy where to go. So if your puppy is newly arrived in your home and if he still has that natural instinct not to soil in the sleeping spaces, then your puppy should be easier to potty train with little guidance. You just need to immediately stick to a good routine. But for established house soilers, crate soilers, or older puppies and dogs that have been doing house soiling for a while now, you may need to be twice as vigilant. You may need to follow a tighter routine so that you give your puppy more opportunities to do it in the correct place. And definitely make sure that previously soiled areas are cleaned very well. What are some of the common mistakes that I see puppy owners making? So the first is that they end supervision too soon. And madalas nangyayari yan doon sa mga puppies na pagdating sa bahay, a few days or a few weeks into the puppy arriving at your home, you notice that he's being very good about, holding his pee and poop, waiting until you come and waiting until he's let out. And because the puppy is so good with his potty habit already, a lot of puppy owners get too confident about leaving the puppy unsupervised and free roaming around the house right away. So agad-agad nakakampante ka, hinahayaan mo na agad yung puppy mo kasi maganda na yung habits niya. But a growing puppy will take a while to develop a good bladder and bowel control. So it's very important that you don't leave your puppy free and unsupervised too soon, just to make sure that that bladder and bowel control is already well developed. So continue to supervise for several more months, even if you've already observed your puppy having some good potty habits. The second mistake that I often see new puppy owners make is that they use diapers or get too dependent on using diapers. So diapers, they manage the problem. It helps because, of course, your puppy pees or poops into the diaper and doesn't make a mess around the house. It really doesn't help in the potty training. Once you put a puppy in a diaper and then allow him to roam and run around the house, you're encouraged to not be vigilant. You're breaking from the routine that you set for yourself and hindi mo binabantayan yung puppy mo. So that really doesn't train the puppy to control his or her bladder. What I would suggest, even if you're putting your puppy in a diaper, especially when you're in outside areas in the Philippines, in some public spaces, it's required for the puppy to wear a diaper. Guide the puppy, still be vigilant for signs that the puppy is going to pee or poop, and guide the puppy to the designated potty area. So don't wait for him to soil into his diaper so that you don't break that habit. And that's it. That's how you address potty training. So I hope you found that helpful. And going back to those 3 parts of the solution that I described, let's list them here again. So the first was to prevent and manage the undesirable behavior. Secondly, we have to supervise and create a routine. And that actually means we're directing away from the undesirable behavior and toward the desirable behavior. And then the third part of the solution is that we teach and reward the desirable behavior. So those 3 parts, those 3 things combined, those actually describe a kind of formula for behavior change, which you can apply to other problem behaviors that you're experiencing with your puppy. In fact, next week, we're going to talk about puppy play biting and apply the same formula as well. So if you have questions regarding the potty training steps that I described, send me an email or leave a comment below. And if you found this video helpful and informative, I'd really appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to this channel for even more informative dog training and dog behavior discussions. Thanks for watching. Bye.